The evening chime has rung and faded into the mist. Only the soft creak of a chair, the clink of a goblet, and the sigh of ancient timber break the quiet. Tonight, we find rest in the world of the warm room kept for lost travelers. Let the road fall behind you. Sink into your pillow as the hearth settles to embers. Let your breath turn slow and quiet in the candle glow. Let every worry drift beyond the inn door. This is the wandering hearth. Now, let us begin. The wind carries the scent of pine and distant snow across the threshold of the valley. You have been walking for many hours now, through the deepening violet of the dusk. Ahead, a single lantern glows with a soft amber light, swaying gently from a crooked iron post. This is the gate of the Wayfarer's Rest, a sanctuary built upon the ancient stones of the first mountain. The mist clings to your cloak, like the memories of the road, cold and heavy. But here the air begins to change, turning sweet with the smell of wood smoke and dried lavender. Every step you take upon the cobblestones feels a little lighter as the world of the wild fades into the background. You reach the great door, a massive slab of mountain oak, banded with weathered iron. It has stood here for 300 years, welcoming those who find themselves between the maps. There is no lock upon this door, for the warm room is a gift to the lost. You place your hand against the grain of the wood and feel the faint vibration of a hearth fire burning somewhere deep within. The door swings inward, with a slow, rhythmic creak, revealing a hallway bathed in the golden hue of a dozen beeswax candles. The transition from the biting chill to the sudden embrace of the heat is like a heavy blanket draped over your shoulders. You are safe now, and the night can no longer reach you. Inside the entrance hall, the floor is made of smooth, river-polished stones, laid in patterns that mimic the flow of water. To your left, a row of heavy brass hooks waits to take the weight of your travel-worn gear. You unfasten your cloak, and as it slides from your shoulders, the exhaustion of the journey seems to slide away with it. The walls are lined with shelves of hand-carved cedar, holding bundles of sage and jars of mountain honey. There is a quiet hum here, a low resonance of ancient magic that keeps the frost from the glass. It is a house that breathes, a structure that knows the value of a weary traveler's silence. Further in, you find the keeper's desk, though no one sits there at this hour. Instead, a single parchment rests upon the dark mahogany surface, held down by a paperweight made of raw amethyst. The ink is dry, but the words are clear, offering a blessing of rest to whoever enters. Beside the parchment, a row of iron keys hangs from small silver pegs, each one labeled with the name of a constellation. You reach out, and your fingers brush against the key, marked with the sign of the North Star. It feels cool to the touch, yet it carries a promise of a bed made of goose down and linen that smells of the sun. The great hall opens up before you, a vast space of high-vaulted ceilings and timber beams. In the center, the hearth fire roars softly, its flames dancing in shades of orange and deep crimson. There are no shadows here that feel unkind, only the soft play of light against the tapestries of woven wool. You walk toward the fire, the heat radiating outward to thaw the lingering cold in your bones. Around the hearth, large leather chairs are arranged in a circle, their cushions indented by the presence of those who came before. You choose a seat, and for a moment you simply watch the embers as they pulse like the heart of the mountain itself. On a low table nearby, a ceramic pot sits atop a bed of warm coals, steam rising in thin, elegant curls from its spout. The scent of chamomile and wild ginger fills the air, inviting you to pour a cup. The mug is heavy, made of thick clay, and it warms your palms as you hold it close. Each sip is a slow, grounding experience, the liquid traveling down to settle the restlessness in your spirit. You listen to the sound of the logs settling in the grate, a series of soft pops and whispers that tell stories of the forests they once were. The world outside, with its storms and its distances, feels like a dream from which you have finally awakened. Above you the rafters are hung with hundreds of drying herbs, their leaves rustling in the gentle updraft of the heat. You can identify the sharp tang of rosemary, the earthy scent of thyme, and the floral sweetness of meadowsweet. These are the medicines of the hearth, gathered by the keepers during the height of the summer. They hang there like green ghosts, releasing their essence into the stillness of the room. You lean your head back against the soft leather of the chair and close your eyes for a breath, letting the aroma anchor you to the present moment. There is no hurry here, for time in the warm room follows the pace of the candle, not the sun. You notice a staircase winding upward along the curve of the stone wall. The steps are wide and shallow, designed for feet that are tired from leagues of walking. Each banister is carved with the likeness of a different woodland creature, their wooden eyes watching over the hall with a quiet benevolence. You begin the ascent, your boots making a soft, rhythmic thud against the thick wool runner that covers the wood. Halfway up, there is a landing with a tall, stained glass window depicting the moon rising over a field of silver grain. The moonlight from outside filters through the glass, casting patterns of pale blue and indigo across your path. The upper hallway is narrow and intimate, lined with doors of dark walnut. Each door is thick and well fitted, ensuring that the sounds of the house do not disturb the sleepers within. You find the door that matches the key in your hand, its brass handle polished to a mirror finish. When you turn the key, the mechanism moves with a silent, oiled precision, a testament to the care given to every detail of this place. You step inside, and the door closes with a soft, decisive click, sealing you away in your own private world. The room is small but perfectly formed, a cocoon of comfort in the heart of the sanctuary. A small fire has already been laid in the bedroom's private grate, its light flickering against the cream-colored walls. The bed is high, piled with quilts of patchwork velvet and pillows that look like soft white clouds. Near the window, a small writing desk holds a bowl of fresh water and a linen cloth for washing away the dust of the road. You move to the window and draw back the heavy curtain, looking out at the world you have left behind. The forest is a sea of darkness, the trees swaying in the gale, but here, behind the thick glass, there is only peace. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the hands that built these walls and the spirit that keeps the lamps burning. You wash your face, the water cool and refreshing, clearing the last of the road's grit from your skin. The linen cloth is soft and smells faintly of lemon, a clean, bright scent that contrasts with the richness of the wood smoke. You catch your reflection in the small silver mirror above the washstand, and you see the tension finally leaving your brow. Your eyes are heavy now, the warmth of the room working its way into your mind, slowing your thoughts to a gentle crawl. You move toward the bed, the floorboards beneath your feet, feeling solid and sure. This is the destination, the end of the day's labor and the beginning of the night's restoration. As you pull back the covers, you find that a copper warming pan has been tucked between the sheets, leaving the bed toasty and inviting. You slide beneath the layers, the weight of the quilts pressing down on you with a comforting firmness. It is as if the house itself is holding you, protecting you from the vastness of the high fantasy world outside. You lie there, watching the shadows of the fire dance across the ceiling, tracing the patterns of the wood grain. The crackle of the flames is the only sound, a steady rhythmic pulse that matches the beating of your heart. Your breathing becomes deep and regular as you surrender to the gravity of the mattress. You think of the other travelers who might still be out there in the cold, and you whisper a silent wish that they too find their way to a blue lantern in the dark. The warm room is more than just a place of rest. It is a reminder that kindness exists even in the wildest corners of the realm. You feel the edges of your consciousness beginning to blur, the firelight fading into a soft golden haze. The stories of the day, the mountains climbed and the rivers crossed, all become distant echoes, lost in the hum of the sanctuary. You are no longer a traveler, you are a guest, and the night belongs to the silence. The embers in the grate glow with a steady, dying heat, turning from bright orange to a deep, resonant plum. The scent of the cedar walls seems to intensify in the dark, a grounding, earthy perfume that lulls you deeper into the pillows. You shift slightly, finding the perfect hollow in the down-filled mattress, your body feeling weightless and heavy all at once. The magic of the room is not in spells or incantations, but in the simple, profound absence of worry. Here there are no maps to follow, no paths to find, and no dangers to outrun. There is only the warmth and the long, slow hours of the midnight watch. Outside, a lone owl calls, a haunting, beautiful sound that only serves to emphasize the stillness of your chamber. You listen to its cry, a three-note melody that carries across the forest and fades into the mist. It is the sound of the world continuing its ancient cycles while you remain tucked away in this pocket of timelessness. The stars above the rest are hidden by the clouds, but you know they are there, spinning in their silver tracks across the velvet sky. You close your eyes, and the darkness behind your lids is warm and welcoming, a mirror of the room around you. You can feel the pulse of the mountain, a low-frequency vibration that comes from the deep stone foundations of the inn. It is a steady, reassuring thrum, the sound of the earth at rest. You realize that you are part of this piece, a single thread in the tapestry of the night. The fatigue in your muscles has turned into a pleasant ache, a sign of a journey well spent and a rest well earned. You let out a long, slow breath And as you do, the last of your alertness drifts away like smoke. The fire in the grate is now just a collection of glowing jewels, casting a faint crimson light onto the rug. In the distance, the sound of a rushing stream can be heard, its waters tumbling over the rocks at the edge of the property. It is a constant white noise lullaby that blends with the sighing of the wind in the eaves of the roof. These are the songs of the wayfarer's rest, the music of the wild, tamed by the presence of the hearth. You find yourself drifting on the surface of sleep like a leaf on a calm pond, moving slowly toward the center. There is no resistance, only a gentle, inevitable slide into the quiet of the dreamlands. The room is a fortress, and you are its sole inhabitant, safe and sound. As the firelight dims, the room takes on a new character, one of deep shadows and soft textures. The velvet of the quilts feels like moss against your skin, and the air is cool against your cheek, while your body remains encased in warmth. You are hovering at the very edge of slumber, where the line between the world and the imagination begins to thin. You think of the morning, of the smell of fresh bread, and the sight of the sun breaking through the forest mist. But that is a world away, a future that has not yet arrived, and for now the present is enough. The present is warm, and the present is silent. You take one final deep breath, the scent of the room filling your lungs one last time. It is the smell of safety, the smell of home for those who have none. Your thoughts are now just fragments, images of lanterns and stone arches and the kind eyes of the keeper. They swirl gently, like snowflakes in a glass globe, settling slowly to the bottom. The world of the wandering hearth is a vast and wondrous place, but tonight it is only as large as this single perfect room. You are ready now to let go of the day and embrace the long, healing dark. As the door clicks shut behind you, the silence of the room begins to settle, preparing you for the secrets held within the velvet shadows. The shadows here are not empty, but filled with the soft presence of 1,000 previous guests. You can see their marks in the gentle wear of the floorboards and the smooth, polished surface of the bedside table. It is a room that remembers every sigh of relief and every weary footfall that has crossed its threshold. You are merely the latest in a long line of travelers seeking the embrace of this stone-walled sanctuary. At the foot of the bed sits a heavy trunk made of dark, aromatic cedar from the southern vales. Its iron bands are forged in the likeness of twisting vines, a testament to the skill of the mountain smiths. You imagine the treasures it has held, the heavy winter cloaks and the precious scrolls of those who wandered far from their own hearths. Now it stands silent, a sturdy companion in the flickering amber light. Your gaze drifts to the high window where the thick glass distorts the silver moonlight into shimmering patterns. Outside, the great peak of Ethelgard rises like a jagged tooth against the velvet sky. Its snow-capped summit is illuminated by the Star Braid, a constellation of 7 brilliant diamonds that guides the lost through the trackless wilds. From this height, the world seems vast and cold, making the warmth of your room feel all the more precious. On the small circular table rests a collection of leather-bound journals, their spines creased and their edges frayed. These are the records of the wayfarer's rest, filled with the sketches and stories of those who found peace here. You can almost smell the ink and the old parchment, a scent of history and quiet contemplation. They are a library of rest, a testament to the fact that no one is truly alone in their journey. Beside the journals, a silver basin catches the light of the fire, its surface perfectly still. The water within was drawn from the crystal spring that flows beneath the inn, pure and cold. It reflects the dancing flames, creating a miniature world of orange and gold within the silver rim. You could reach out and break the surface, but the stillness is too perfect to disturb. The curtains are heavy and thick, woven from the wool of the Highland sheep. They are dyed a deep forest green, a color that reminds you of the ancient groves where the sunlight filters through the canopy. They hang in deep folds, dampening the sound of the wind and sealing you inside this pocket of warmth. The world outside, with its storms and shadows, cannot penetrate this woven barrier. On the mantelpiece sits a small ceramic incense burner, shaped like a dragon, curled in sleep. A thin ribbon of smoke rises from its nostrils, carrying the scent of sandalwood and dried orange peel. The smoke drifts lazily in the still air, curling around the rafters before vanishing into the darkness above. It is a slow, hypnotic dance that draws your eyes and eases your mind. High above, the vaulted ceiling is lost in shadow, though the occasional spark from the fire illuminates the heavy timber beams. They are carved with ancient runes of protection and peace, their meanings lost to time, but their intent still felt. The wood is dark with age, having stood for 300 years through seasons of snow and sun. It is a roof that has never failed to keep the world at bay. To your left, a small side table holds a glass of amber liquid, the color of a setting sun. It is a draught of honey made, brewed with herbs from the innkeeper's garden and aged in oak barrels. A single bead of condensation rolls down the side of the glass, a tiny, slow-moving jewel. The scent is sweet and earthy, a promise of warmth that begins from within. The door hinges are a work of art, in themselves crafted from blackened iron and shaped like dragon scales. They are silent, oiled with the fat of the great bears that roam the northern forests. There is no creak, no groan, only a solid, reassuring weight that speaks of security. In this room, the door is not just a barrier, but a promise of privacy and peace. A bowl of dried lavender and pine needles sits on a low shelf, releasing its fragrance with every breath of air. The lavender was gathered in the height of summer, under the golden sun, and the pine was harvested from the high ridges. Together they create a scent that is both fresh and grounding, a reminder of the earth's quiet endurance. It is the smell of the wild brought indoors to soothe the spirit. The rug beneath your feet is a masterpiece of the weaver's craft, with patterns of swirling rivers and hidden paths. It is thick and soft, muffling your footsteps as if you were walking on a bed of forest moss. The colors are muted, burgundies and deep browns that seem to glow in the low light of the hearth. Every thread was spun by hand, a labor of patience and care. Through the thin crack at the bottom of the door, you can see a sliver of light from the hallway. It is a soft, flickering yellow from the candles that line the corridor outside. You hear the distant, muffled sound of a door closing, and then the silence returns, deeper than before. The inn is a living thing, breathing softly as its guests drift into the world of dreams. A map of the known realm is pinned to the stone wall, its edges curled and its ink faded. You can trace the lines of the great river and the jagged peaks of the Iron Mountains where you have traveled. There are marks in the margins, notes written in a delicate hand, pointing toward hidden springs and safe havens. It is a map of hope, a guide for those who seek the horizon. On the bedside table, a moonstone lamp glows with a soft, ethereal light that does not flicker. It is a gift from the elven smiths, a stone that captures the essence of the full moon and holds it fast. Its light is cool and calming, a perfect counterpoint to the warm orange glow of the fire. It illuminates the small space around you with a gentle, pearlescent radiance. The fire in the grate has settled into a bed of glowing coals that pulse with a slow, rhythmic heat. Occasionally, a piece of wood shifts and settles, sending a small cascade of sparks up the chimney. The sound is like a soft heartbeat, a steady, comforting presence that fills the room. It is the oldest magic in the world, the magic of the hearth and the home. Your boots rest by the fire, their leather worn and stained with the dust of a dozen different lands. They are the silent witnesses to your journey, having carried you through mud and stone and stream. Now they are at rest, their work done for the night, as they soak up the warmth of the dying embers. They look small and humble in the grand architecture of the room. In a polished bronze mirror hanging on the far wall, the room is reflected in soft golden tones. The reflection is slightly blurred, like a memory or a dream of a place you once knew. You see the bed, the fire, and the shadows, all contained within the circular frame. It is a world within a world, a quiet, mirrored sanctuary where time has no meaning. Near the window, a small indoor garden grows in a stone trough filled with silver-leafed herbs. These are moon lilies and star fern, plants that thrive in the cool light of the evening. Their leaves shimmer as if coated in frost, and they release a faint, cool scent like rain on stone. They are a touch of life in the heart of the stone inn, a reminder of the world's constant renewal. The light catches the dust motes, dancing in the air, turning them into tiny golden spirits. They move in slow, graceful circles, caught in the invisible currents of the room's warmth. You watch them, your eyes growing heavy as their movement lulls you further into relaxation. The room is a vessel of peace, and you are drifting toward the quiet waters of a deep and dreamless sleep where the path forward is paved with starlight. Beyond the thick stone walls of this chamber, the night wind begins to hum, a low and mournful song that travels through the ancient pines. It carries the scent of damp earth and distant rain, but here within the embrace of the hearth, the air is still and warm. You listen to the wind's sigh, a reminder of the wild world you have left behind for the sanctuary of this room. The heavy curtains, made of thick midnight blue velvet, dampen the sound, turning the gale into a gentle whisper. It is a sound that does not threaten, but rather it cradles the silence of the room. At the foot of your bed stands a great chest of dark oak, its lid carved with the likeness of a sleeping dragon. The wood is polished to a high sheen, reflecting the orange flicker of the dying fire in its deep amber grain. It has stood in this room for 300 years, holding the belongings of travelers who have long since moved on. You can almost feel the weight of their stories, tucked away in the corners of the wood, a silent history of journeys taken and paths crossed. It is a sturdy thing, a piece of the world that does not change, while everything else flows like water. Above the chest hangs a tapestry of woven wool, its colors softened by the passage of many decades. It depicts a great white stag, leaping over a stream made of silver thread, under a canopy of golden leaves. The stitches are fine and deliberate, each one a testament to the weaver's patience and their love for the forest. In the dim light, the stag seems to move, its eyes catching a stray spark from the fire as if it were watching over your rest. The fabric is heavy and thick, holding the warmth of the room and softening the echoes of your breath. Upon a small wooden stand sits a ceramic wash basin filled with clear, cool water from the mountain spring. The surface of the water is a perfect mirror, capturing the soft glow of the moonstone lamp and the dark shadows of the ceiling. A sprig of dried rosemary floats on the surface, its scent rising in a faint herbal cloud that clears the mind. It is a simple luxury, a quiet invitation to wash away the dust of the road and the weariness of the day. The ceramic is cool to the touch, a smooth and grounding presence in the flickering light. High above you, the ceiling is crossed by massive beams of cedar, darkened by the smoke of 1,000 fires. The grain of the wood twists and turns in complex patterns, like the maps of forgotten empires or the roots of the world tree. You trace the lines with your eyes, following the slow, organic curves until they disappear into the shadows of the corners. There is a sense of immense strength in those beams, a feeling that they could hold up the weight of the entire mountain. They have looked down upon many sleepers, offering the same silent protection that they offer to you now. In the corner of the room, near the small garden of silver herbs, sits a writing desk of weathered birch. A single quill, plucked from the wing of a mountain hawk, rests in a pewter inkwell, its nib dry and waiting. Beside it, a small stack of parchment, yellowed with age, sits tied with a ribbon of faded green silk. Perhaps a traveler once sat here to record the wonders of their journey, or to write a letter home to a place they had not seen in years. The desk is scarred with small nicks and ink stains, the marks of 1,000 quiet thoughts captured in the dead of night. You can hear the faint, rhythmic creak of the inn's timber as the building settles into the cooling earth. It is a living sound, the voice of the house as it adjusts to the shifting temperatures of the evening. It is not a sound of alarm, but a sign of stability, a confirmation that the hearth is solid and the roof is secure. Downstairs, the muffled sound of a heavy door closing echoes softly through the floorboards, a sign that the innkeeper is making their final rounds. The world is closing its eyes, one by one, and the hearth is the last thing to remain awake. A small bronze bell sits on the nightstand, its surface engraved with runes of peace and protection. If you were to ring it, the sound would be clear and bright, a tiny silver note in the vast silence of the night. But there is no need for it now, for everything you require is within reach of your hand. The bell is a comfort, a silent promise that you are not truly alone, even in the deepest hours of your rest. It catches the light of the fire, a small golden sun that anchors the room in the present moment. The shadows on the walls dance in a slow and graceful minuet, growing long and then short as the flames rise and fall. They are like the ghosts of the forest, moving between the trees, or the shapes of clouds passing over a moonlit meadow. You watch them without thought, letting their movements slow your heart and steady your mind. There is no urgency in their dance, no need to hurry or to find a destination. They simply exist, a byproduct of the light and the warmth and the safety of the hearth. You feel the weight of the wool blankets pressing down on you with a gentle, insistent pressure. They are heavy and warm, smelling of sun-dried linen and the faint, sweet scent of lavender sachets. Each layer is a barrier against the cold, a shield that keeps the world at bay while you drift. The texture of the fabric is slightly rough, but comforting, a tactile reminder of the craft that went into its making. You pull the edge of the quilt up to your chin, tucking yourself into the soft, dark center of the night. The fire has retreated into the heart of the logs, leaving behind a landscape of glowing canyons and shimmering peaks of ash. The heat it radiates is steady and deep, a warmth that sinks into your bones and loosens the last knots of tension. You can hear the very faint hiss of sap escaping from the wood, a tiny singing voice that joins the chorus of the wind. It is a slow, dying light, but it is enough to guide you toward the edge of wakefulness. The room is a cocoon of amber and shadow, a place where the passage of time is measured only by the pulse of the coals. On a shelf near the door, a row of old books, bound in cracked leather and stamped with gold, stands in silent sentinel. Their titles are written in languages that have not been spoken in the valleys for 5 centuries. They contain the wisdom of the stars, the songs of the sea, and the recipes for potions that can heal a broken heart. You do not need to read them to feel the weight of their knowledge, filling the room with a sense of quiet dignity. They are the keepers of memory, and they watch over your sleep with the patience of stone. A carved wooden owl sits upon the mantelpiece, its wings folded tight against its body. Its eyes are made of polished obsidian, reflecting the firelight with a sharp, intelligent glint. It was carved by a master craftsman who understood the spirit of the bird and the stillness of the night. It seems to be listening, its head tilted slightly to the side, as if it can hear the secrets of the wind. It is a guardian of the threshold, a silent observer of the dreams that drift through this room like smoke. The floorboards beneath the rug are wide planks of dark pine, worn smooth by the feet of many generations. They hold the warmth of the day and the echoes of 1,000 footsteps, each one a part of the inn's long story. You can feel the strength of the earth beneath them, a foundation that will not fail, no matter how hard the wind blows. The rug itself is thick and soft, woven with patterns of vines and flowers that seem to grow in the half-light. It is a garden for the feet, a soft landing for those who have walked too far. You close your eyes, and the image of the room remains burned into your mind in shades of gold and grey. You can still see the flicker of the fire. Behind your eyelids, a pulsing warmth that guides you into the deeper dark. The sounds of the room, the creak of wood, the sigh of the wind, and the crackle of the hearth blend into a single low hum. It is the sound of safety, the sound of a home found in the heart of the wilderness. You are a traveler no longer, but a guest of the night, resting in the warm room kept just for you. The moonstone lamp begins to dim, its pearlescent light fading as it senses the approach of true midnight. It does not go out all at once, but slowly recedes, like the tide pulling away from the shore. The shadows grow deeper and more intimate, wrapping around the bed like a soft velvet cloak. The room feels smaller now, a private universe where only you and the fire exist. It is a moment of perfect equilibrium, where the world is balanced between the light of the day and the dark of the dream. Your breathing becomes slow and deep, matching the rhythm of the hearth's pulse as it settles for the night. Each inhale brings the scent of cedar and spice, and each exhale releases a little more of the heavy burden of the road. You are drifting now on a sea of quiet thoughts, where the waves are made of silk and the stars are close enough to touch. The path you followed to get here is a distant memory, a line drawn in the dust that the wind has already begun to clear. The silence of the room is absolute, a thick and heavy presence that holds you fast in its embrace. Even the wind has fallen quiet, as if the world itself is holding its breath in anticipation of your rest. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to see, and nowhere left to go. You have arrived at the center of the night, the point where all journeys end and all stories begin again. The warmth of the room is a promise, a vow that you will be kept safe until the first light of dawn touches the window. You sink deeper into the pillows, feeling the softness of the down as it contours to your head and neck. It is like resting on a cloud, a weightless support that carries you away from the physical world. The last glow of the fire is a tiny ember, a single spark of red in the vast and comfortable darkness. It is enough to keep the cold away, enough to remind you that the hearth is still there. You are falling now, a slow and graceful descent, into the quiet waters of sleep, where the dreams are waiting to lead you home. The dream begins not with a flash, but with the soft, persistent sound of the valley breathing. It is a rhythmic pulse, a low vibration that moves through the foundations of the inn and into the very marrow of your bones. Outside the heavy oak shutters, the silver mist valley has transformed into a landscape of shifting pearls and charcoal shadows. Shutters, the silver mist valley has transformed into a landscape of shifting pearls and charcoal shadows. Outside the heavy oak shutters, the silver mist valley has transformed into a landscape of shifting pearls and charcoal shadows. The fog rolls in from the great northern sea, thick and silent, swallowing the base of the ancient pines until only their dark, needle-clothed crowns remain visible. They look like islands in a ghostly ocean, swaying ever so slightly in the currents of the midnight air. The valley is a bowl of silence, held between the protective palms of the mountains, where the air is thick with the scent of damp stone and sleeping flowers. You find your mind wandering beyond the walls of the warm room, drifting like a stray leaf on the evening breeze. You follow the line of the garden wall, where the stones are cool to the touch and covered in a velvet carpet of star moss. This moss glows with a faint bioluminescent green, a light so soft it seems to be a memory of the sun rather than a light of its own. It traces the cracks and crevices of the masonry, mapping out a history of the house that only the night can read. Every stone was laid by hands that are now dust, but the warmth of their labor remains, a lingering echo of care and craftsmanship. Every stone was laid by hands that are now dust, but the warmth of their labor remains, a lingering echo of care and craftsmanship. Every stone was laid by hands that are now dust, but the warmth of their labor remains, a lingering echo of care and craftsmanship. Each tiny node of the star moss is a miniature sun, casting a soft emerald glow that illuminates the delicate patterns of the lichen and the rough grain of the granite. The path leads away from the inn, winding down toward the edge of the whispering stream, where the water flows over smooth blue pebbles. The sound of the water is a constant melodic chatter, 1,000 tiny voices speaking in a language of splashes and ripples. It tells stories of the high glaciers, where the air is so cold it rings like a bell, and the ice is as old as the world itself. The stream carries the chill of the heights. But here in the valley, it is tempered by the warmth of the earth, creating a gentle, rising steam that dances among the reeds. But here in the valley, it is tempered by the warmth of the earth, creating a gentle, rising steam that dances among the reeds. But here in the valley, it is tempered by the warmth of the earth, creating a gentle, rising steam that dances among the reeds. You can hear the distant muffled roar of a hidden waterfall, a sound so faint it is more of a feeling than a noise, a low-frequency hum that vibrates in the chest. Along the banks, the night-blooming jasmine has opened its petals, releasing a fragrance that is heavy and sweet and full of sleep. It is a scent that anchors the soul, pulling you deeper into the quietude of the landscape, making the world of the day feel like a distant, faded dream. The flowers are pale stars against the dark earth, nodding in time with the stream's song, as if they are listening to the secrets of the water. You can almost feel the softness of the petals, a delicate texture that contrasts with the rugged strength of the surrounding stone. The air here is cool and moist, a refreshing balm for a mind that has traveled many miles. Further still, the great forest stands as a wall of deep emerald and obsidian, its canopy a vast rustling roof that shuts out the sky. Inside the tree line, the air is still and heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves and ancient magic. This is the realm of the elder wood, where the trees have seen the rise and fall of empires and the passing of countless seasons. Their roots go deep, entwining with the bones of the earth, drawing up the slow, cold strength of the underworld. Here the silence is profound, a thick and heavy presence that demands respect and offers a strange, wild peace. The shadows move with a life of their own, dancing between the trunks in a slow, hypnotic rhythm. A lone owl, its feathers the color of winter moonlight, sits upon a branch of a silver birch, its large golden eyes watching the world with an ancient indifference. It does not hunt tonight, for even the predators of the forest feel the weight of this sacred quiet. It simply exists, a living part of the night's architecture, its presence a reminder that life continues even in the deepest stillness. The owl's breath is a tiny puff of white in the cold air, a fleeting sign of vitality in a world that seems frozen in time. The soft rustle of its feathers is the only sound, a gentle whisper that blends into the sighing of the trees. The moonlight filters through the canopy in long, slanted shafts, illuminating the forest floor in patches of silver and grey. It reveals the hidden paths of the woodfolk, the narrow trails worn into the moss by the passage of soft paws and silent hooves. There is a sense of community here, a hidden society that thrives in the dark, governed by laws that are older than words. You are a guest in their world, a silent observer, allowed to witness the beauty of their realm, because you come with a heart that is at rest. The light plays upon the ferns, turning them into delicate lace, woven from the very fabric of the moon. You follow the moonlight to a small clearing, where an ancient shrine of the Earth Mother stands, forgotten by all but the wind. The stones are weathered and worn, their carvings smoothed by centuries of rain, but the power of the place remains undiminished. A single candle, enchanted to burn for 100 years, flickers within a niche in the rock, its flame a steady golden point in the gloom. It is a beacon for the lost, a sign that even in the deepest wilderness there is a place of sanctuary and a light that never goes out. The air in the clearing is warmer than the rest of the forest, held in place by the surrounding trees like water in a bowl. It smells of incense and old parchment, a scent that evokes the libraries of the great mages and the quiet study of ancient lore. You can feel the weight of the history here, the layers of prayer and meditation that have soaked into the very ground. It is a place of profound stillness, where the mind can finally let go of its last, lingering worries and sink into the absolute peace of the earth. The ground is soft beneath your feet, a thick carpet of pine needles and moss that cushions every step and muffles every sound. You are standing at the heart of the world, a point of perfect balance and quiet strength. Beyond the forest, the glass-water lake stretches out, a perfect mirror for the constellations that wheel overhead. The surface is so still that it is impossible to tell where the water ends and the sky begins, creating an illusion of infinite depth. The stars are reflected with such clarity that they look like diamonds scattered across a floor of black marble, shimmering with a cold, distant fire. A light breeze occasionally stirs the surface, sending a single, long ripple across the lake, distorting the reflections into a dance of liquid light. The water is dark and inviting, a vast reservoir of silence that holds the secrets of the sky. On the far shore, the ruins of a forgotten watchtower rise like a jagged tooth against the backdrop of the mountains. Its stones are white in the moonlight, stark and beautiful in their decay, a monument to a time when the world was younger and more dangerous. Now it is merely a nesting place for the mountain eagles and a landmark for the weary traveler, a silent sentinel that watches over the valley. The tower has no more wars to fight, no more fires to light. It simply is a part of the landscape's long, slow memory. You can see the ivy climbing its walls, a living shroud for the ghosts of the past. The mountains themselves are a wall of blue and white, their peaks lost in the high clouds where the wind never stops its howling. But down here, in the embrace of the valley, the wind is only a sigh, a gentle movement of air that carries the stories of the heights down to the lowlands. You can feel the cold of the peaks, a sharp, refreshing contrast to the warmth of the inn, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the smallness of your own journey. It is a humbling thought, but also a comforting one, for in such a vast world you have found a place where you belong. The mountains stand as eternal guardians, their presence a constant, reassuring weight on the horizon. The path begins to lead back toward the inn, the familiar silhouette of the roofline appearing through the thinning mist. The chimney continues to release its steady stream of smoke, a grey ribbon that disappears into the dark sky, carrying with it the scent of the hearth. It is a sight that warms the heart, a symbol of civilization and comfort in the midst of the wild and untamed land. The inn is a lighthouse in a sea of shadow, a fixed point in a world that is always changing. You can see the faint orange glow of the windows, a promise of warmth and safety that draws you closer with every step. As you approach the courtyard, you pass the old stone well, its wooden bucket dripping with clear, cold water. The sound of the drips is like the ticking of a clock, a rhythmic measurement of time, in a place where time seems to have no meaning. The water in the well is deep and dark, reflecting the moon in a perfect silver circle, a hidden treasure tucked away in the heart of the stone. You stop for a moment to listen to the echo of the water, a low, hollow sound that speaks of the hidden depths beneath the surface of the world. The stones of the well are worn smooth by generations of hands, a tactile history of the people who have lived and worked here. The stable is quiet, the only sound the soft rustle of straw as the horses shift in their sleep. They are at rest now, their long day of travel over, their heavy breathing a testament to their strength and endurance. The air in the stable is warm and smells of hay and leather, a comforting, earthy scent that speaks of honest labor and well-earned rest. You feel a sense of kinship with these creatures, for you too have traveled far, and you too have found your place of peace. The wooden beams overhead are dark with age, holding up the roof with a sturdy, unyielding grace. The garden gate creaks softly as you pass through, a familiar, welcoming sound that signals your return to the sanctuary of the inn. The night-blooming jasmine seems even stronger now, its scent a thick, intoxicating cloud that wraps around you, drawing you back toward the warmth of the room. The star moss on the walls is glowing more brightly, as if it is happy to see you return, its green light guiding your way across the courtyard. You move with a sense of purpose, a slow and steady progress toward the final rest that awaits you. The gravel crunches softly underfoot, a rhythmic accompaniment to the beating of your heart. The exterior of the inn is a study in textures, the rough-hewn timber of the beams, the smooth, weathered stone of the walls, and the thick, layered thatch of the roof. It is a building that has grown out of the land rather than being built upon it, a natural extension of the valley itself. You can feel the strength of the structure, the way it stands firm against the wind and the rain, a bastion of safety in an unpredictable world. It is a house that knows how to keep its secrets and how to protect those who dwell within its walls. The wood is silvered by the moonlight, showing the intricate grain of the ancient trees from which it was carved. You find yourself standing once more outside the window of the warm room, looking in at the scene you left behind. The fire has burned down to a low, pulsing glow, the embers like a bed of fallen stars, casting a soft orange light across the floor. The bed looks inviting, a mountain of soft blankets and pillows, waiting to receive you once more. The room is a sanctuary within a sanctuary, a private world where the only thing that matters is the peace of the spirit. You can see the shadow of the rocking chair, a silent witness to the passage of the night, its wooden frame catching the last of the firelight. The glass of the window is cool against your forehead, a thin barrier between the vastness of the night and the intimacy of the hearth. You watch as the last of the moonstone lamp's light fades away, leaving the room in a state of perfect, comfortable darkness. It is a darkness that is not empty, but full of the presence of the room, the weight of the furniture, the scent of the herbs, and the warmth of the fire. It is a darkness that invites you to close your eyes and let go of the last threads of consciousness. You feel the pull of the dream, a gentle current that carries you back into the soft embrace of the pillows. As the valley sighs in its sleep, the stone of the house begins to hum, a low, tectonic lullaby that speaks of the deep roots of the world. This sound is the heartbeat of the earth itself, a slow and steady rhythm that has continued since the beginning of time. It is a sound that carries you away, beyond the world of dreams, and into the deep, dark silence of a perfect, restorative sleep. The hum of the earth and the pulse of the hearth become one, a single, unified song of rest and renewal. As the valley sighs in its sleep, the stone of the house begins to hum, a low, tectonic lullaby that speaks of the deep roots of the world. The hum of the earth, that deep and resonant vibration, guides your steps away from the window and toward the garden gate. Here the soil is rich and dark, holding the secrets of 1,000 seasons within its cool, damp embrace. The gate itself is crafted from ironwood, a material that never rots and only grows stronger with the passage of centuries. It swings open with a silent, well-oiled grace, as if the house itself is inviting you to explore its outer boundaries. You step out onto the path of crushed seashells, their pale, iridescent surfaces catching the starlight and guiding you toward the orchard. Each step is a soft crunch, a rhythmic sound that anchors you to the present moment and the physical reality of the earth beneath your feet. The air here is different from the warmth of the room. It is cooler and filled with the scent of ripening frost apples and wild crushed mint. Each breath you take is a draught of liquid moonlight, cooling your throat and settling deep within your chest like a calming draught. To your left, the herb garden lies in a state of silvered repose, the sage and rosemary bowing their heads under the weight of the evening dew. The dewdrops are like tiny liquid diamonds, trembling on the tips of the leaves before falling softly to the dark earth below. You walk slowly, your boots making only the faintest whisper against the path, as if the world itself is holding its breath. The night is a living thing, a presence that surrounds you with the softest of touches and the quietest of songs. The orchard trees are ancient, their branches twisted into graceful, reaching shapes that seem to be dancing in the absolute stillness of the night. Among the gnarled roots, the star-dropped lilies begin to unfurl, their petals a pale, translucent blue that glows with a soft light of its own. They only bloom in the deepest hours of the night, when the world is quietest, and the stars are at their brightest in the velvet sky. Their scent is subtle, a hint of vanilla and ancient rain that lingers in the air like a fond memory of a time you cannot quite place. You reach a small stone shrine, a humble structure built by the first travelers who found this valley and stayed to call it home. It is covered in soft emerald moss, and on its ledge a dozen smooth river stones have been placed, each one a silent prayer for a safe journey. A single candle burns within a glass lantern, its flame steady and unwavering, despite the gentle breeze that wanders through the trees. This light is a beacon not for the eyes, but for the soul, a reminder that even in the deepest dark there is warmth to be found. You follow the path as it winds deeper, toward the edge of the silver thread woods, where the trees grow tall and straight, like the pillars of a great cathedral. The canopy above is so thick that only a few stray beams of moonlight can pierce through, creating pools of silver on the forest floor. In these pools, the glowing moss thrives, a carpet of soft neon green that cushions every step you take. It is a place of profound silence, a silence that is not an absence of sound, but a presence of peace. You can hear the distant murmur of the Skyfall Brook, its waters tumbling over smooth stones as it makes its way toward the great lake. The sound is like 1,000 tiny bells, ringing in a harmony that only the night can understand, a liquid melody that washes away the last of your worries. You find a stone bench carved with the runes of the mountain folk, and you sit for a moment to take in the majesty of the woods. The stone is cool but not cold, holding on to the memory of the sun's warmth, even now, hours after the sunset. From here you can see the inn, a small golden spark in the vastness of the valley, its windows glowing with a welcoming light. It looks like a jewel set in a crown of shadow, a place of safety and comfort in a world of wild magic and ancient wonders. You realize that the warm room is not just a place, but a feeling, a state of being that you carry with you wherever you go. The woods around you are alive, but they are not threatening. They are simply existing in the same quiet rhythm as your own breath. A silver fox crosses the path ahead, its fur gleaming like polished chrome, as it pauses to look at you with intelligent amber eyes. It does not flee, but simply nods its head, a silent acknowledgement of your presence before disappearing into the ferns. You feel a sense of kinship with the creatures of the night, the owls that watch from the branches and the moths that flutter like pale ghosts among the lilies. The night is not a time of fear, but a time of revelation, when the hidden beauties of the world are allowed to shine. You stand and continue your walk, the path leading you toward a small pond, its surface as smooth as a dark mirror. The moon is reflected perfectly in the center, a silver coin resting on a bed of obsidian water, undisturbed by the wind. Around the edges the reeds sway gently, their rustling sound like the turning of pages in an old, forgotten book. You reach down and touch the water, the ripples spreading out in perfect circles, breaking the moon into 1,000 shimmering pieces. It is a reminder that even the most solid things can be changed by a single touch, and that peace is a fragile, beautiful thing. The air grows even stiller, as if the valley is sinking into a deeper level of sleep, and you find yourself returning toward the inn. The path takes you past the stone well where the copper bucket hangs from a heavy, rusted chain, its metal surface damp with the night mist. You can smell the wood smoke from the chimney again, a comforting scent that speaks of home and the hearth. The inn is closer now, the sounds of its settling timbers like the sighs of a giant, resting after a long day's work. You pass through the ironwood gate once more, the click of the latch a final, satisfying sound that signals the end of your wanderings. The garden is just as you left it, but you see it with new eyes, appreciating the quiet magic that lives in every leaf and stone. You pause by the window of the warm room, looking in at the embers that still pulse with a low, steady light. The bed is still there, the pillows still soft, the blankets still waiting to wrap you in their heavy, warm embrace. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the room, for the inn, and for the valley that keeps them both safe. The journey through the night has cleared your mind, leaving only the simple, pure desire for rest. You are ready now to let go of the last lingering thoughts and to sink into the dreamless sleep that the earth has promised. The hum of the stone is a constant companion, a steady beat that matches the slow, deep rhythm of your heart. As you prepare to enter the room once more, you know that the peace you have found will stay with you, even in the deepest hours of the night. The stars above continue their slow celestial dance, watching over the valley with their cold, brilliant eyes. But here, within the embrace of the hearth and the stone, you are warm, you are safe, and you are finally, truly at rest. The bridge between the waking world and the world of sleep is narrow, but you cross it with ease, guided by the light of the fire and the song of the earth. Every breath is a step closer to the silence, a gentle descent into the soft, dark velvet of the night. You are part of the valley now, a single thread in the great woven tapestry of the world's quietest moments. The warm room is waiting, the door is open, and the night is yours to keep in the stillness of your soul. As the door to the warm room creaks open on its heavy hinges, the scent of the hearth welcomes you back, a familiar embrace that signals the beginning of your final descent into the deep, quiet dark. The heavy door of the warm room swings shut with a soft, solid thud that echoes gently against the stone walls. The iron latch clicks into place with a finality that feels like a promise kept. You are inside now, and the world of the valley, with its mist and its ancient whispering trees, is held at bay by 3 inches of seasoned oak. The air here is different. It is thick and still, and carries the deep, comforting scent of dried cedar, and the faint, sweet ghost of summer lavender. The warmth of the hearth hits your skin like a physical weight, a soft blanket of heat that begins to unspool the tension in your shoulders. You stand for a moment just inside the threshold, letting your eyes adjust to the low, amber light. The fire has burned down to a bed of glowing coals, but it still casts a long, flickering radiance across the floorboards. These boards are wide and dark and polished to a soft sheen by the feet of 1,000 travelers who came before you. They do not creak or groan under your weight. They only hum, a low, resonant vibration that seems to come from the very roots of the mountain. It is a welcoming sound, a quiet acknowledgement that you have returned to the place where you belong. Slowly, you begin to shed the weight of the outside world, starting with your heavy traveling cloak. The fabric is cool and damp from the night air, but as you hang it on the hand-forged iron hook beside the door, it feels as though you are shedding a layer of old skin. The hook is shaped like a curling vine, a small piece of artistry in a room built for simple comfort. You move toward the hearth, your footsteps muffled by a thick rug woven from the wool of mountain sheep. The patterns on the rug are intricate and ancient, spirals of deep green and earthy brown that tell the story of the seasons turning. There is a low wooden chair placed just the right distance from the fire, its seat cushioned with a pad of soft, worn leather. You sit, and the wood of the chair sighs beneath you, a gentle, companionable sound that mirrors your own relief. From here the room feels even smaller, even more intimate, a perfect circle of light carved out of the vast dark night. You reach down to unlace your boots, your fingers moving slowly through the leather cords. The boots fall to the floor with a soft, muffled sound, and the heat of the fire immediately finds your feet, a tingling, soothing sensation that travels all the way up to your heart. You lean back and let your gaze wander up toward the ceiling where the heavy timber beams are exposed, and let your gaze wander up toward the ceiling where the heavy timber beams are exposed. You lean back and let your gaze wander up toward the ceiling where the heavy timber beams are exposed. They are carved with runes of protection and peace, ancient symbols that glow with a very faint blue light whenever the firelight hits them at just the right angle. These are not spells of power, but spells of quiet. They are woven into the wood to ensure that no bad dreams can cross the threshold of this room. You can smell the sap still trapped within the grain, a sharp, clean scent that cuts through the warmth of the hearth smoke. To your left, a small bedside table of dark cherry wood holds a single flickering tallow candle in a brass holder. The flame is steady and tall, and it casts a soft golden glow over a ceramic pitcher and a matching basin. The pitcher is filled with water, drawn from the deep well in the garden, and you can see the condensation beaded on its cool blue glazed surface. Beside it, a small wooden bowl contains a handful of dried rose hips and a sprig of mountain mint, their scents mingling to create a fragrance that is both refreshing and deeply grounding. The window is small and set deep into the thick stone wall, its glass slightly bubbled and uneven. You can see the frost beginning to lace the edges of the panes, a delicate crystalline pattern that catches the light of the dying fire. Beyond the glass, the valley is a sea of shadows, but here, inside the warm room, the darkness is a friend. It is a soft velvet curtain that wraps around you, making the light of the hearth feel even brighter and more precious. You watch a single spark drift up the chimney, a tiny golden star that vanishes into the night. On a small, built-in shelf above the bed, a row of leather-bound journals sits in quiet contemplation. These are the records of the travelers who have stayed here, each page filled with stories of journeys taken and rests well earned. You do not need to read them to feel the weight of their presence. They are a library of peace, a testament to the fact that rest is a sacred thing. The leather is old and cracked and smells of salt and distant places, a reminder that even the longest road eventually leads to a warm fire. You stand and move toward the wash basin, the water cool and silk-like against your skin as you rinse away the dust of the road. The reflection in the water is broken by ripples, a shimmering golden version of the room that dances and shifts with every movement. You dry your hands on a linen towel that feels rough and clean and smells of sunshine and mountain air. Every action is slow, deliberate, a ritual of preparation for the deep sleep that is waiting for you, just a few feet away. The bed is a masterpiece of simple craft, its frame hewn from the heartwood of a lightning-struck oak. It is tall and sturdy, and the mattress is filled with the softest down of the northern geese, making it feel more like a cloud than a piece of furniture. The quilt that covers it is a patchwork of history. Scraps of silk from the southern ports, wool from the high plateaus, and linen from the river valleys. It is heavy and thick, designed to press down upon you with a gentle, reassuring weight that signals to your body that it is time to let go. You pull back the covers, and the scent of lavender is stronger here, rising from the pillows in a soft, fragrant cloud. The sheets are cool at first, but they quickly drink in the warmth of your body and the radiant heat of the room. As you settle in, the bed seems to mold itself to your form, supporting every limb with a perfection that only ancient magic or long years of use could achieve. You lie there for a long moment, staring up at the runes on the ceiling, feeling the slow, steady pulse of the house. The fire is now a low red hum, a rhythmic breathing of light and shadow that plays across the walls. The shadows are long and soft, moving in time, with the flickering embers like the spirits of the trees dancing in the night. There is no sound now but the occasional pop of a cooling log and the distant rhythmic sigh of the wind in the chimney. It is a silence that is not empty, but full of the presence of the room itself, a living, breathing sanctuary that has seen 1,000 nights just like this one. You reach out and extinguish the candle, the wick glowing red for a heartbeat before fading into the dark. Now the only light comes from the hearth, a deep, pulsing crimson that bathes the room in a primal, ancient glow. You close your eyes, and the darkness behind your lids is warm and soft, a reflection of the room around you. Your breath slows, matching the rhythm of the embers and the steady, deep heartbeat of the mountain stone. You are no longer a traveler, but a part of the stillness, a single note in the long, quiet song of the night. In your mind, you can still see the valley, the mist-covered river, and the stone well, but they feel far away now, like a dream you had long ago. The only reality is the warmth of the quilt, the scent of the cedar, and the soft, heavy pressure of sleep beginning to settle over your mind. You feel yourself sinking, drifting down into the deep, dark waters of a dreamless rest. The world outside will continue its slow, celestial dance, but for you, time has stopped in the perfect golden circle of the warm room. The embers shift. One last time, a soft sliding sound that is the final punctuation to the day. A tiny glow remains in the heart of the hearth, a sentinel of light that will watch over you until the first grey light of the dawn. You are safe, you are warm, and you are finally, truly still. The journey is over. The door is locked, and the night is a vast, quiet ocean that carries you away on its gentle, rhythmic tide. As you settle deeper into the warmth, the room begins to blur at the edges, and the soft, steady rhythm of the fire becomes the only clock that matters, marking the passage into the deepest hours of the night. Beyond the heavy wool blankets, the house itself seems to settle into the deep, dark earth of the mountain. The thick oak beams overhead groan softly, under the weight of the silent midnight snow, a sound like a giant shifting in its sleep. You can feel the age of the timber wood that was harvested 300 years ago from the heart of the Whispering Woods. It carries the memory of the wind and the slow, steady growth of the seasons, now repurposed to hold up this roof and keep you safe from the storm. On the wall, a silver-threaded tapestry catches the last faint glow of the dying fire, shimmering like a dream. It depicts the great migration of the cloud whales, their massive shimmering forms drifting through a sky of woven silk and starlight. The threads are so fine they seem to move when you blink, a trick of the light, or perhaps a lingering trace of the weaver's gentle magic. Each stitch is a prayer for safe passage, and as you watch, the whales seem to dive into the deep indigo shadows of the room. The window is a portal to a world of silver and frost, where the air is still and the light is thin. The glass, hand-blown by the artisans of the glass cove, is etched with patterns of frozen ferns and crystalline stars that never melt. Outside, the moon hangs high above the jagged peaks, a pale, watchful eye in the velvet blackness of the high-altitude night. The light it sheds is cold and pure, turning the snow into a field of scattered diamonds that glitter in the absolute frozen stillness. On the small bedside table sits a row of leather-bound journals, their spines cracked with the passage of many hands and many years. These are the records of the travelers who found this room before you, each one leaving a fragment of their journey behind for the next. There are stories of dragon flights over the burning sands, and quiet poems written by scholars from the sunken library of the West. They are silent now, their words resting in the dark, but their presence adds a layer of shared peace to the heavy air. A small bronze owl perched upon the mantel gives a single metallic click as its internal gears wind down for the night. It was a gift from a master of the Clockwork Guild, designed to keep watch when the master of the house is away on business. Its eyes, tiny rubies, catch a spark of ember light before they too fade into the shadows of the cooling hearth. The sound is a reminder that even the machines of this world know the value of a quiet, undisturbed rest in the dark. The scent of lavender and dried mountain herbs rises from a ceramic bowl placed carefully on the low wooden dresser. The herbs were gathered during the height of the summer solstice, when the sun's power is at its peak, and they have held that warmth all through the year. The fragrance is thick and sweet, a heavy blanket for the senses that pulls you deeper into the softness of the down mattress. It smells of sun-warmed earth and the slow, patient work of the golden bees in the valley below. The door of the room is a massive slab of ironwood, its surface carved with runes of protection and ancient welcome. It stands as a solid barrier between you and the vast, unpredictable world that stretches out beyond these thick stone walls. No cold can pierce it, and no shadow can cross its threshold without the house's silent and knowing permission. You are held in a fortress of comfort, where the only thing that can reach you is the soft rhythmic sound of your own breath. In the hallway beyond the door, a single blue mage light floats in the air, a miniature moon tethered to the ancient stone. It casts a cool, watery glow over the floorboards, illuminating the path for any who might wake in the middle of the deep night. It is a gentle light that does not startle, but guides, a beacon of safety in the heart of the sleeping dwelling. The house is never truly dark, but filled with these small luminous kindnesses that watch over the weary traveller. Below you in the kitchen, the copper pots hang from the rafters like silent golden bells reflecting the ghost of the fire. They are cold now, the fires of the great stove banked for the evening, but they still hold the memory of hearty stews and bread. The stone floor is cool and clean, washed with water from the mountain spring that flows deep beneath the very foundations. There is a profound and heavy peace in a kitchen, at rest, a sense of plenty and of quiet domestic grace. The stairs lead down into the cellar, where the mountain's breath is felt most clearly in the damp, cool air. There the stone walls are ancient, and the air smells of rich earth and the slow aging of fine berry wines. Casks of oak hold the harvest of a dozen years, sleeping in the dark silence of the underground vaults. It is the root of the house, the place where it anchors itself to the very bones of the world, drawing strength from the rock. Outside the window, the garden path is a ribbon of silver winding through the sleeping lilies and the tall ghost grass. These are the night blooms, flowers that open only when the sun has vanished, their petals glowing with a soft internal light. They bow their heads in the gentle breeze, scattering a fine, shimmering dust that tastes of starlight and the coming dreams. The garden is a secret world, a place where the magic of the earth comes out to play while the realm sleeps. In the stable, a short distance from the main house, the sky striders are resting, their long wings tucked close to their sides. These great feathered beasts with their keen eyes are tucked into beds of golden straw and aromatic mountain hay. Their breathing is a deep, low rumble that vibrates through the ground, a rhythmic song of power and ancient loyalty. They are the companions of the road, the swift wings that carry travelers across the clouds, and now they too have found sanctuary. High above, the spire of the moon pierces the clouds, its white stone shining like a beacon against the indigo sky. It is a place of ancient wisdom, where the stargazers map the movements of the heavens and the shifting of the tides. Tonight it is silent, its long winding staircases empty, and its great telescopes pointed toward the infinite dark reaches. The spire stands as a sentinel, a bridge between the earth and the sky, watching over the world as it rests. The wool of your blanket is thick and coarse, yet surprisingly soft against your skin, a comfort earned through miles of travel. It was woven from the fleece of the sheep of the high fells, animals that live on the very edge of the clouds. Their wool is infused with the mist and the thin mountain air, making it the warmest material in all the known kingdoms. You can feel the weight of it pressing down, a physical manifestation of the safety and the warmth that surrounds you. On the windowsill, a small carved totem of a forest spirit stands guard, its wooden face smoothed by years of careful touch. It is made of rowan wood, and its eyes are two small pieces of polished amber that glow with a faint inner light. The woodkin are the protectors of the trees, and this small figure is a token of their friendship with this house. It stands as a silent witness to the peace of the room, its presence a reminder that you are never alone. Beneath the rug on the floor is an anchor stone, a heavy slab of granite etched with a single glowing golden rune. This is the heart of the room's magic, the point where all the energies of the house converge and find their balance. It pulses with a slow, steady light, a heartbeat that matches the rhythm of the earth and the turning of the stars. It keeps the room stable and warm, no matter how fiercely the winter winds may howl or the mountains may shake. From the chimney, a thin trail of smoke rises into the night, a silver ribbon against the black expanse of the universe. It carries the scent of cedar and pine, a signal to the stars that here there is life and warmth and rest. The smoke drifts higher and higher until it vanishes into the vastness of the sky, a tiny offering to the spirits of the air. It is the final lingering breath of the fire, a sign that the day is truly and finally done. In the polished silver mirror on the far wall, the room is reflected in a soft, dreamlike blur of shadow and light. The red glow of the embers, the dark shapes of the furniture, and the pale square of the window all blend together. It is a world within a world, a place where time has no meaning and the only reality is the profound stillness. You look at it and feel your own reflection, drifting away into the quiet silver depths of the glass. The night is now a vast, quiet ocean, and you are a small boat drifting on its gentle, rhythmic, and infinite tide. The world outside, with its kingdoms and its wars and its endless turning wheels, has faded into a distant, unimportant memory. Here, in the warm room, there is only the scent of lavender, the glow of the fire, and the heavy pressure of sleep. You are sinking deeper and deeper into the soft, dark waters of a rest that has no beginning. As the last glowing ember fades into grey ash, the room enters its final, most profound and sacred state of quiet. The silence is no longer just the absence of sound, but a living, breathing thing that wraps itself around you like a cocoon. You are safe, you are warm, and you are finally, truly one with the night as the house watches over you. As the deep velvet dark settles over your mind, the boundaries of the room begin to dissolve, and you find yourself stepping across the threshold into the first soft landscapes of a dream where the stars themselves come down to guide you. The threshold has been crossed, and the world of stone and timber has begun to soften into the fluid silver light of the dreaming mind. The walls of the warm room, once so solid and protective, now feel as light as a summer mist, drifting away into the vast, quiet expanse of the inner self. You are no longer merely a guest in a house of wood, but a traveler in the infinite landscapes of the spirit. The air around you is no longer the scent of cedar and lavender, but the cool, clean breath of the stars themselves. In this quiet, final hour, the mountains themselves seem to bow their heads in a gesture of ancient, stony respect. They have stood for 10,000 years watching the travelers come and go like sparks from a fire. They know the weight of your weariness, and they offer their own eternal stillness as a pillow for your spirit. You can feel their strength, a deep, resonant hum that vibrates through the very foundation of your being, steadying you for the long journey into sleep. The stars above are not merely lights in the sky, but the glowing embers of a celestial hearth that warms the entire world. Each one is a story, a memory, or a dream waiting to be rediscovered in the quiet depths of the night. They twinkle with a slow, rhythmic pulse, like the blinking of a great cosmic eye that watches over the sleepers of the realm. You are part of this great weaving, a single golden thread in a tapestry that stretches across the ends of time. Deep within the earth, beneath the roots of the ancient trees, the spirits of the world are settling into their own long winter. The great bear, the silver fox, and the wise owl have all found their places of rest in the hollows and the caves of the dreaming land. Their breath is the wind that sighs through the branches, a long, low lullaby that calls to you across the distance. It is a song of belonging, a reminder that you are home, no matter where your physical body may lie. The shadows in the room have become gentle companions, soft-edged and kind, like the velvet wings of a moth. They do not hide the unknown, but rather they cradle the known in a protective, dark embrace that allows the mind to let go. You find yourself following the curves of the ceiling, the way the dark beams meet the silver light, until the shapes lose their names. Everything is becoming one single, harmonious whole, a symphony of shadow and silence. Your breath has found a rhythm that is no longer your own, but the rhythm of the house, the mountains, and the tides. It is a slow, deep expansion and a long, effortless release, a cycle that requires no thought and no effort. Expansion and a long, effortless release, a cycle that requires no thought and no effort. It is a slow, deep expansion and a long, effortless release, a cycle that requires no thought and no effort. With every exhale, a little more of the day's weight is given back to the earth, until you are as light as a fallen leaf floating on the surface of a dark, still pool. The water is cool and deep, and it welcomes you into its depths. In the corner of your mind, the image of the hearth still glows, a small, stubborn point of warmth that will never truly go out. It is the heart of the inn, the heart of the mountain, and the heart of your own quiet soul. It represents the promise that there will always be a place for the lost, a light for the weary, and a room for those who need to find their way back to themselves. It is a sacred flame tended by the unseen hands of the world's kindness. The sounds of the night are fading now. The distant howl of a wolf, the rustle of leaves, and the creak of the inn's old bones. They are becoming like the echoes of a dream heard from a great distance across a wide and misty sea. You are drifting further and further from the shores of the waking world toward a horizon that is painted in the softest shades of indigo and violet. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to be. Beneath you, the bed feels like a cloud made of wool and down, supporting you so perfectly that you can no longer feel where you end and the bed begins. You are dissolving into the comfort of the room, becoming a part of the stillness and the peace that you have found here. The boundaries of the self are like the edges of a cloud, soft and shifting and beautifully undefined. You are expanding to fill the room, the inn, and the entire quiet valley. The ancient runes on the anchor stone have faded to a dim, ghostly gold, their work for the night nearly complete. They have held the space, they have kept the warmth, and they have guarded the threshold with a silent, unwavering strength. Now they too seem to sleep, their light flickering like the last heavy eyelids of a tired child. The magic is settled, the wards are strong, and the peace is absolute. You think of the travelers who have come before you, and those who will come after, all seeking the same quiet sanctuary. This room has held 1,000 nights of rest and 1,000 different dreams, and it holds them all with the same impartial grace. You are part of a long line of weary souls who have found their way to this hearth, and in this shared experience there is a profound and lasting comfort. You are never truly alone in the dark. The smell of the lavender on your pillow is the last thing to anchor you to the physical world, a sweet herbal tether that is slowly fraying. It is the scent of the earth's own dreams, a gift from the gardens that sleep beneath the snow. It fills your senses one last time with a feeling of safety and purity, and then it too begins to fade. The world is retreating, leaving only the vast, beautiful void of a deep and dreamless slumber. As the final silver light of the moon slips across the floor, it marks the passage of the last waking moment. The time for thought has passed, the time for memory is over, and the time for being has arrived. You are a vessel filled with the quiet of the universe, a silent bell that has finally stopped its ringing. There is only the pulse of the night and the steady, slow beat of a heart at rest. In the distance, the great archive of the stars continues to turn, recording the silence of the world in its glowing celestial pages. It notes the peace of this room, the warmth of this hearth, and the depth of your sleep as a precious and holy thing. Nothing is lost in the night. Everything is simply held in trust until the sun begins its climb once more. But for now, the sun is a distant and forgotten promise. You are sinking now into the velvet obsidian depths of the most profound and healing rest you have ever known. It is a darkness that is not empty, but full of the potential of all things, a fertile ground where the soul can renew itself. It is the womb of the night, the source of all light, and the end of all weariness. You surrender to it fully and without reservation, letting the last tiny spark of consciousness go out. The room is silent, the fire is ash, and the traveler is gone into the lands that have no maps. The house stands as a silent sentinel in the moonlight, a monument to the kindness of the hearth and the necessity of the road. It will be here when you return, but for now you are free to wander the pathless woods of the dream. The journey is over, the rest has begun, and the world is at peace. In the heart of the mountain, the deep stones whisper a final ancient blessing over the house and all who dwell within it. It is a blessing of stone and root, of star and flame, a protection that will last until the end of the age. You carry it with you into the deep as a shield against the cold and a light for the inner eye. You are safe, you are loved, and you are finally asleep. And so as the last faint echo of the world fades into the deep velvet embrace of the night, you are carried away on a tide of peace that will hold you until the first golden light of a new dawn begins to wake the world, and the journey begins anew. Thank you for resting here a while. Until next time, on the wandering hearth, sleep well.